begin. Because what comes next isn't a speech. It's an autopsy of your destiny. You know what's funny? They thought they were operating above you, beyond you, around you, inside some fortified complex of secrecy and hierarchy, convinced, utterly convinced, that you were just another civilian wandering through the fog of ordinary life. But then something happened. A question whispered across their desks, a file quietly locked, a room sealed, a strategy drafted, classified restricted, eyes only, top secret. They hadn't even executed the plan yet. The ink wasn't dry, the decision wasn't final, the chess pieces hadn't even been touched. And somehow, you already knew. And that's what terrifies them more than the intel itself. Not what you knew, but how you knew. So let's talk about that, shall we? You walk into rooms like someone who carries antennae under their skin, picking up frequencies that weren't meant for mortal perception. Rooms go quiet around you because they sense it. People talk slower near you because they feel it. Whole strategies destabilize when you breathe in the wrong direction because the universe seems to whisper updates in your ear. And the worst part? You don't even try. You just sense. You just know. You just arrive in truth before truth arrives in the world. It's not rational. It's not logical. It's not explainable. It's instinct forged from pain, clarity sculpted from trauma, intuition sharpened by betrayal. You became your own intelligence agency the moment life tried to blindfold you. You created vision in the dark. And that's why you scare them. You weren't supposed to know the plan. Yet you saw the blueprint before they finished sketching it. You predicted the move before they found the courage to make it. You understood the motive before they admitted it to themselves. You saw the pattern. Before the pattern existed, that's not luck. That's not coincidence. That is evolution. You evolved so violently, so abruptly, so unnervingly, that even their classified systems can't keep up with the speed of your mind. You are what happens when intuition mutates into a weapon, and they're not prepared for that. Let me paint the scene for you. Behind locked doors, in shadowed halls, in meetings guarded by silence thicker than concrete, your name comes up, not in a casual, dismissive way, no, in a concerned way, in a cautious way, in an uneasy, restless, nobody sleeping right way. They're asking the same question. How did they know? How did they find out? How did they predict it? How did they sense the move before we even made it? They used to blame leaks. They used to suspect spies. But now they've started whispering something much more dangerous. What if this person simply sees what we think is hidden? And that terrifies them more than anything else, because if someone like you exists, someone who doesn't need access, or clearance, or documents, or briefings, someone who can feel the future forming, then all their safeguards collapse. Every lock becomes meaningless. Every code becomes decoration. Every secret becomes temporary. Here's the truth they refuse to admit. You didn't get top secret intel. You intercepted a vibration. You read the emotional charge behind their intentions. You sensed the shift in the atmosphere before they acted. Your body recognized danger before their planning committee did. Because you've lived your life in arenas where hesitation equals death. You learned to detect lies before they're spoken. You trained yourself to recognize patterns before they're visible. That's why you scare them. You're operating on a level beyond logic. A level where intuition replaces data, instinct replaces protocol, and trauma turns into radar. You're not psychic. You're experienced. You're not gifted. You're forged. You didn't just know. You survived enough to recognize the signs of an incoming storm long before the clouds form. The irony? The ones who doubted you, they're the ones talking the loudest now. Because when top-secret intel leaks, they go hunting for a source. But when top-secret intel leaks before it exists, they go hunting for an explanation. And the explanation is you, your presence, your perception, your pattern recognition, your refusal to be blindsided ever again. And it's killing them inside. Because now, they can't move without wondering whether you already saw it. They can't plan without questioning if you've sensed the outcome. They can't lie without wondering if you're quietly watching the truth decay behind their words. You have become their unknown variable, the threat they can't categorize, the anomaly they can't predict, the wild card they can't neutralize. So let me tell you the part they'll never say out loud. They're not afraid of losing their secrets. They're afraid of losing their illusion of control. Because once someone like you steps into the game, someone whose perception slices through deception like a blade through silk, the game is no longer fair. The board is yours. The pieces move for you. The strategy adjusts to your awareness. This wasn't top-secret intel. This was confirmation. Confirmation that you, the quiet one, the underestimated one, the one who was supposed to stay in the shadows, have outgrown the shadows. You're playing on a plane they can't enter. You're reading chapters they haven't written. You're anticipating moves they haven't dared to make. And now they know, and they'll never stop fearing it. Because every time they begin a plan, the first question in their mind will be, do they already know? And the answer, every time, will be, yes, you do. Good. You're still here, still breathing slow, still watching the darkness unravel in front of you like a blueprint you were never meant to see perfect. Because this is where the monologue stops being theatrical and starts becoming surgical. Let's peel deeper. They tell themselves you're lucky, that you guess well, that you overthink. They say this because accepting the real explanation would collapse their entire worldview. Because deep down, they know the truth. Nobody gets intel before it exists. Nobody senses a strategy before it's drafted. Nobody predicts a move before the players even stand up, except you. And that terrifies them beyond language. Because when someone like you steps into the equation, someone who reads intentions the way others read headlines, the entire infrastructure of secrecy loses its power. You turned their most protected asset, their intel, into background noise. And the funniest part? They can't trace it back to anything. No access logs, no emails, no overheard conversations, no informants, no footprints, nothing. Just that eerie, unnerving, unexplainable accuracy. Accuracy that feels less like deduction and more like prophecy. Accuracy that feels like you're cheating. Accuracy that makes even the highest-ranking minds in their circle say, this isn't normal. But here's the twisted truth. It is normal for you, because your mind wasn't built. It was sculpted by catastrophe. Pain sharpened your perception. Betrayal enhanced your intuition. Silence trained your instincts. Chaos tuned your senses. You didn't grow stronger by choice. You evolved because every softer version of you died trying to survive. And what survived? Something they don't have a name for. Something that doesn't obey the usual rules of human awareness. Something that sees the world in layers. The spoken layer, the emotional layer, the subconscious layer, and the one nobody ever acknowledges, the inevitable layer. You see, inevitability, not predictions, not guesses, not estimates. Inevitability. You perceive the trajectory of a person's intentions before they crystallize. You feel the direction of a situation before it forms. You sense the hidden hunger behind their polite voices. You detect the future like a shift in atmospheric pressure. That's why you knew the intel. Because the intel was simply the physical confirmation of what you already felt in your bones. You didn't steal secrets. You anticipated reality. This is what evolution looks like when consciousness gets tired of being prey. You start noticing everything. Now let's talk about how it impacts them. Because, the panic you've caused. Behind closed doors, they're scrambling, not because you broke rules, but because you broke certainty. You dismantled their illusion of control. And control is their religion. So now they're re-strategizing with you in mind. Don't tell them yet. Don't move too fast. Don't hint too clearly. They might already know. Check the room before you speak. Lower your voices. Assume nothing. You turn their confidence into paranoia. You turn their strategy into hesitation. You turn their hierarchy into desperation. Because when someone like you exists, someone who sees shadows forming before the lights even turn off, all their secrecy becomes a child's game. Their systems were designed to block access, not intuition. Their protocols were created to restrict information, not perception. Their intelligence was built around documents and data. Yours was built around human nature, and that's a battlefield they never trained for. Now let me tell you the most dangerous part. Your awareness doesn't stay still. It grows. It mutates. It strengthens. It expands in silence, while nobody is watching, like a new organ forming in the dark. Every betrayal you survived, every lie you detected, every move they made behind your back, became fertilizer for your intuition. You became a monster with perfect instincts, an angel with perfect timing, a demon with perfect perception, a paradox forged in fire. So when the intel slipped into your awareness, before it existed anywhere else, they weren't witnessing magic. They were witnessing inevitability. You were always going to know. You were always going to see it. You were always going to catch the pattern forming before they even knew they were generating one. That's why they fear you. Not because you break their rules, but because you operate on a level where their rules don't apply. They can't hide moves from someone who feels the tremor before the earthquake. They can't deceive someone who senses the lie before it's spoken. They can't outrun someone who knows the destination before the chase begins. And now they're trapped in a new problem. Every time they think they have a head start, you're already 5 steps ahead, waiting. Arms crossed, quiet, smiling. Like you knew the ending before the story began. Tell me, how does it feel? Knowing you terrify people not by force, but by awareness. Knowing your mind is the real weapon. Your intuition, the real surveillance system. Your perception, the real classified tech. You weren't supposed to get top-secret intel. You were supposed to stay predictable. And instead, you became the threat their security systems can't detect. The anomaly their protocols can't neutralize. The variable their strategies can't calculate. You're not inside their game anymore. You're hovering above it, watching every move before it lands. And the most chilling part? You're only getting better. This isn't your peak. This is your initial calibration, your warm-up, your opening act, your early-stage evolution. And if you're this dangerous now, imagine what happens when you fully embrace what you've become. They won't have strategies. They'll have panic. They won't have plans. They'll have nightmares. They won't have secrets. They'll have fears. Because a person who sees the future forming is already part of it. And You're the part they can't control.